Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Real Issues with Ola. Today is very interesting because we are in Brisbane, West End to be precise, at Lekki by Little Lagos. So today I'm bringing you a very important person, a businessman, an entrepreneur, a trailblazer. And I think I would also like to call him a groundbreaker in our community in Australia. So I'd love you to welcome with me Mr. Tokunbo. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you. That was a great introduction. I'm like, is she talking about somebody else? Or?
It's you. Let's
That's
leave it
very
with
kind.
that. Let's leave it like that. Let's leave it like that. So, Tokunbo,
Yes.
I would love you to tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is Tokunbo?
That's such a complex but simple question. I am a middle child, so two elder sisters who are deceased now, so God bless the dead, and two younger sisters. And I was raised in I think a lot of Nigerians can relate to a polygamous family. So my dad's Muslim. I think he had like 3 or 4 wives. So I was always around people, and I think that's where my love of community comes from. The house was never empty. I mean, it was always somebody in the house, aunties, cousins, step aunties, step cousins. So I think that's where the love of community came from. And food was obviously massive. So when we cook, it's like we're having a party because there's like 40 people in the house.
Wow.
And I think that's where my love came from. And grew up, I would say, surrounded by love. Our society, even though from the outside it might not look like that, but there's a lot of love, there's a lot of compassion, there's a lot of community building. And I think that's what I took for myself growing up. That's one of the elements that I really love about my culture. And I moved here in 2016. And I would say my life so far has been quite interesting.
Oh, beautiful. Will you give us your full name? What's your last name?
Yes, it's Tokunbo Babajide Adeniyi.
Adeniyi.
Yes.
So you're from Lagos?
Yes, I am an indigenous citizen of Lagos. I'm very proud to say that. We're a family from Ekpe, specifically Odogbaojo, which is one of the villages that make up the Ekpe local government. And we've been there for 5 or 6 generations.
Wow, that's beautiful. So are you hoping to go home and be maybe
king? It's funny you asked that because my dad just passed on the title Adegbajo of Odogbaojo. He passed on because he didn't want to be king. Oh. So my uncle is now the king, Uncle Mansour, which is quite massive. They actually sent me the initiation, and everything, and it was amazing. So my uncle is the king of the village now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe in the nearest future.
Well, I think it's left our family because my dad passed upon it.
Okay.
So I think it's on their side of the family now. Okay. We're first cousins, so it's still Adeni at the end of the day. But it's funny you say that because we're kind of like asking our dad, and he's like, not really interested.
Not really interested. Yeah. That's cool. So what do you really do?
Very interesting background. So I'm a medical doctor. I actually studied medicine. I graduated.
Hold on.
Yeah.
A medical doctor?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
That's my training, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to medical school in Romania. I graduated. I worked for about a year. Halfway through medical school, if I'm being honest, I realized that I like medicine. I was great in biology and chemistry in high school, so it kind of pushed me towards that path. But I'm a very creative person, and medicine is not the most creative industry. It's very traditional. It's very by the books. You can't just decide you want to do things differently. So halfway through medical school, I did realize that, but I was a scholarship student. I was quite smart, if I can say that. And my dad was like, "You're on scholarship. I'm not paying school fees. If you think you're going to drop out to go do some creative thing, you're actually joking." So it's like, you finish that medicine, and then after that, you can do whatever you want. Wow. So I did graduate. I did work for about a year, and then I just said, "No, I have to go out there and create something." But it's something that you can always fall back on. So I do get where my parents coming from when they insisted I finished, because I've always had the opportunity to work using my medical skills, not in a hospital. So I can be a medical advisor, I can be a medical consultant, I can work in claims, I can help insurance companies review medical claims and things like that. So it's always been like a safety net that you can always fall back on.
That you can always fall back on. Wow. So you said you worked for a year.
Yeah.
Is it in Romania or where?
Yeah. So when you finish, you have to do your housemanship.
Yeah, housemanship.
Yeah, which
for a year.
It's directly. So actually, from the third year, we were working. We're in the hospital from the third year. So we're working in the hospital. Classes was maybe once or twice a week. And then when you finish, you have to go into your full housemanship, internship, and then you get attached to a hospital.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you worked for 1 year and then you said,
like, nah,
this is not for me.
The hospital it's a very sad place as well. You know, like people come in, they're unwell. A lot of people, I remember back then, people used to be angry. So people didn't like doctors. I didn't get that part. Like they would come to the hospital and they would not like doctors. Like, I hate doctors. I'm like, we're saving your life. What do you mean you hate doctors? A lot of mistrust as well, you know. So it's just, it wasn't the most exciting place to be. I mean, there is beautiful aspects of it, when someone is ill and they get better, you see them going home, you see their families coming to visit them. That's all beautiful, but there's also a lot of tragedy, a lot of chaos, a lot of pain. And I was like, I want to have fun. Like, I don't want to be here.
Have you always known that you're creative?
Yes. So in high school, we have this thing called the aptitude test. I think that's what it was called. And it was basically a test to determine if you were going to arts or science or technology. And I scored so high in arts that I remember my teacher then was like, you're going to be a writer or director or something.
Wow.
And my parents were like, he's going to be a doctor. So my dad,
Nigerian.
Yes.
Parents.
Yeah. So I think it was my dad that actually came to the school and said he has to take the test again. So we actually pulled strings to move me from the arts into the science. I still remember it because I was one of only 3 students that moved from art to science. It was usually the other way around because people run away from science into art. Because science is maths, physics, biology, chemistry. Yeah, exactly. So I was one of those that people were like, "Are you insane?" So I'd always been like that. I was a ferocious reader. I had this wild imagination. I was in boarding school, so the seniors would get me to read a book and then tell them about the book, almost like I was describing a movie to them. So I was very popular in boarding school. So it's always been there, but obviously the older you get, the more you start to tap into your creative side.
Yeah. So basically your parents pushed you into medicine.
Initially they did, but to my dad's defense, he's a doctor. My dad's a doctor, my granddad's a dentist. So we're from a line of scientists. But in my dad's defense, he wanted me in science and technology, but not necessarily as a doctor.
Okay.
He was always like, why don't you do like computer science or computer technology? Like he could kind of see where the world was going into AI. He knew about AI before it was a thing. But I hated physics and maths so much. I was like, no, I'm going to medicine because I knew there was less of physics in medicine, and that's how I chose that path.
Okay, so how did you end up in food industry?
Always had a dream to own a venue since I was 10 years old.
Really?
Yes, always had that dream. I used to in boarding school, I used to play with my mates. So we had these little bunks. Anyone who's been in boarding school can relate because it's a massive dormitory. It looks like a prison. And then each bunk will have our section. So I used to convert my section into a venue where I would, back then we used to smuggle Indomie noodles and we could cook it by boiling water. So for you kids out there, this is a trick. You can make Indomie noodles by boiling water, very hot water, and just put it in a dark place. You can also fry egg by using the iron. We'll talk about that later. So I used to do that in my little section, and I used to bring my friends in there, and we would just talk and eat. We used to get in trouble, obviously, when we got found out. But I'd always had that idea that I would like to have a venue or a space where people eat, drink, listen to music, and just like vibe and just like have a good time.
Wow, that has been in
Always.
you. Always.
Every time I went into a restaurant to eat, while everyone is looking at the menu, I'm checking out the decor. I'm checking out the lights, I'm checking out the space, I'm checking out every single item to be like, yeah, this is a good idea, or that's not a good idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you move from medicine to owning a restaurant? What is the journey like?
So it's
coming to Australia.
It's parallel. Yeah, the whole time I was working.
So you were working and you were.
Yeah.
So have you ever done something like this somewhere else?
No. So I can cook. Like
really?
Yes.
He can cook.
And because we're Muslim, so every Ramadan, we break our fast, and what I used to do is I used to invite people into my house for iftar. Iftar is when the sun sets and then we're allowed to eat. And I made it an event, and it wasn't with any intention to convert anyone. I didn't care about that. I would invite everyone, whether you're fasting, whether you're Muslim, Jewish, I actually don't care. So everyone would come together. So it became a thing that I was known for. And then one of my friends, Mohammed, he would join me. And I remember he knew how to make moi moi. It blew my mind because I was like, what man knows how to make moi moi? Like, I can't, that's too much for me. But he was very good. So we would make like maybe 7 or 8 dishes.
Really?
Yes. And people would just come and eat. And then people would actually hang out till like late in the night. And we did that every single Ramadan.
Having fun.
Yes. Just eating. So people would literally be like, okay, when is Ramadan next year?
They want to mark their calendar.
And they save it. And I remember at work, I invited one of my colleagues that I was quite close to. And then he had a big mouth. So he went back to work the next day and told everyone.
That.
Like, oh, I went to, they called me Ade's house. Oh my God. There was everything available. So my colleagues were like, oh, so I guess we're not cool enough. I guess you don't like us. I was like, oh, it's not that. So that happened, and then literally half of the team were in my house. It's like a 1-bedroom apartment, but it had a balcony.
Is this in Australia?
It's in Dubai.
Dubai.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a thing back then. So when you ask about the journey, the transition, there wasn't really any, because I've always worked. I just do that on the side. And I think that's that Nigerian hustling spirit. Like, I feel like Nigerians were just built to be able to do 5 things at the same time. I don't know where it comes from.
It's from the genes.
It has to be, because people look at me like, how do you work 9 to 5 and then go run a venue till me, and you're just doing it like it's nothing?
So what brought you to Australia?
2 things. One was the situation of being a Nigerian was deteriorating to a point where you couldn't go anywhere if you had a Nigerian passport.
In Dubai?
Yeah, like you couldn't travel overseas. I worked for an international company called Allianz, and part of my job required me to go to Dublin in Ireland a lot. And I remember I used to wait sometimes 6 months to get a visa. Even though I'd been there back and forth, it was just like, oh yeah, you have a Nigerian passport, so we have to follow all these unnecessary protocols and guidelines. And it was becoming frustrating, really. So I was like, well, I need to get a different passport. You know, when you have a medical degree, migration is quite easy. So yes. I'm very aware of that. So I was going to go to Canada, actually. My sister lives there. And then the guy was like, hey, you know, I can do an Australian application for you for the same price. I was like, no. It's like, Australia, why? It's like, where is that?
So Australia was
no way. I don't know anyone here. I literally I knew Australia because, yeah, who doesn't? But all I knew was there's a country, Australia, it looks nice. And the guy's like, no, Australia is nice. It's like Canada, but not cold. I was like, yeah, whatever. I had no intention. So I got a nomination from New South Wales, and he was like, why don't you just go and check it out? If you don't like it, you can leave. It's a permanent residency, so you've got nothing to do. So I was like, oh, okay. So I came in, I went on Facebook back then. I said, do I know anyone in this country? Dead silence. One of my family friends, Pamela, she was like, oh yeah, I live here in Liverpool. So I was like, I need to see you. So I went up to her and she's like, I love it here. She's like, it's peaceful, it's quiet, great country. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. I was like, is there black people here? She's like, there are, but
I'm scared.
I was like, I haven't seen any. She's like, no, there are. So that was how she convinced me to stay.
Wait, what year was it?
2016.
2016.
Yeah.
Wow. So you came 2016.
2016.
As a medical doctor.
Yeah. And then
on a permanent residency
on a permanent
visa.
residence, and then they said you have to go do your there's this thing you have to do when you're writing the license exam. You have to go to a remote.
Yeah, a remote area.
I was like, nah, I'm good. I can barely survive in the city. Imagine me in some remote town where I'm the only black person. I was like, I'm not going. But because I had a background in medicine, there was so many other options. So they were like, yeah, you don't have to go. You just can't practice medicine. I was like, I'm fine with that. They said you can do medical management, health insurance, whatever. So that's the journey to Australia. It was supposed to be a year. And then I just ended up staying. Yeah.
Wow. That is serious. So let's move to your opening restaurant. Did you like what you said about all this Ramadan? Did you
Yeah, so I like correcting people when they call it a restaurant, because I personally don't like describing it as a restaurant. And I know this is confusing because people are like, it looks like a restaurant. So if you look at the name and the branding, you will notice there's no word restaurant anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just called Little Lagos.
Little Lagos.
That's right. So it's intentional because it's supposed to be a venue, a destination, an experience.
An experience.
Restaurants are where you go, you eat, and you leave. Like, there's not much to do in a restaurant, but the space is supposed to invoke memories of you actually being in Lagos. And by that, I mean food, music, fashion, art, culture, community. In one single space. So you could come to Little Lagos and be like, I don't want to eat, but you can still come in here because there's something else happening. You can literally come in and just say, I just want to listen to proper Fuji music today. Like, wow. And there's nowhere else where I can. And I want to dance. I actually want to dance. And that's the idea behind Little Lagos. So it was always meant to be like that, which is why the name and everything was not like Nigerian restaurant or, Little Lagos food. I never use any of those words. So it's not a restaurant, even though it looks like a restaurant. We will call it a venue or a space.
A space where you can have fun.
A space where you can experience everything about Lagos.
Lagos.
Yes.
So what was the struggle like? When you came in, I'm sure there must be some challenges that you faced when you because it's not the same terrain you're coming into.
Yes.
Saudi is different from Sydney.
Very
in Australia.
different.
So what were the challenges?
I think just adjusting to the Australian way of doing things. Australia is a very regulated country.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. So there's a lot of regulations. There's a lot of license, permits that you need. That's one. Secondly is finance. So
finance?
Yeah. In Dubai, it's easy to get money. It's actually very easy, whether it's from the banks or whether it's finding investors. There's always someone in Dubai going, yeah, let's do it. How much do you need? In Australia, it's the other way around. I couldn't get one single bank to finance the business. Even though I had this job that was paying a 6-figure salary, every single bank was like, yeah, no.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was shocked because I was like, do you not see the vision? Like, this is going to be massive and there's going to be one in every state, and it's every bank was like, no. Investors, same thing. No one wants to invest in Australia. I think most people in Australia want to buy a house. I think that's what they consider investment, and I can get where they're coming from because that's safer.
That's safer. That's,
yes, it's like,
safe landing.
That's right. And if anything goes wrong, I can sell the house.
Sell the house, and
yes,
and that's the mentality of the community. Yeah. Anyway, you just go to work and then just buy a house and then keep paying the mortgage. Yeah, which is okay.
Fair. It's fair.
But for people who like you,
it just means we're never going to own anything because I'm not a financial expert, but you don't own that house. If there's like $1 million mortgage on the house, like, yes, the deeds is in your name, but if you don't pay that mortgage, the bank will come and take that back from you. No one can take my business. No one can take my brand. Because
you've never done business before, you don't have a business background.
Because
this is just your first time into
No, I had my friend go over and she was like, I have never done this before. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just want to open a cafe. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. So it's not that. I think it's just they don't see a lot of black businesses around.
That's true.
So they just like,
who is this?
And who are you? And why is this going to work? And no, I don't want to deal with it.
I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, so you could say that's race related. But if you went to any landlord in this country and say, I want to open a Thai restaurant, they would give you the keys the next day.
Because they have
there's so many.
So
and
many.
They'll be like, yeah, that's fine. They won't even be worried about, because I remember one of the landlords saying he's got the option between us and a burger joint. And I said to him, bro, there's 9 burger joints on this road. He's like, yeah, but that's tested and proven. That means that it works. That means that people buy, which is a fair argument.
Enough, yeah.
Sounds like, okay, so you're willing to take a risk with 9 or 10 other businesses of the same type because you've seen so many of it, but you're not willing to take a risk with a West African joint because you've not seen any of it. And you're like, yeah, I'm not trying to have these guys not be able to pay their rent and disappear.
That struggle was real.
Yeah, so those are the kind of things that when you ask about challenges, I would say those are the big ones because, again, you can't afford to buy commercial property. You have to rent.
You have to rent.
And then when you're renting, the landlords are literally on your neck because they just don't trust that what you're going to do is going to work.
So you broke even, right? You got somebody at the end of the day?
Yes, yeah. But yeah, we did get someone. And I think it's easier now because, what you said, we have a track record.
Yeah.
And yeah, we found a place and we said, okay, let's do it. Let's give it a go.
Yeah. Do you want to agree with this saying there's this issue like, so many people have ideas. They are doing their 9 to 5, but they have this idea, they have this creative business, fantastic idea, but they are scared of stepping out.
Yeah.
Could this be one of the things that will be scaring people away? Because so many people out there, I know so many of my friends who have ideas, business ideas, but they are scared of stepping out. So what would you like to say to them? Because you did it.
Yeah. If you don't try, you can't fail or succeed. I'm not trying to be a philosopher. It's simple as that. You have to try so that you fail or you succeed.
So the worst case scenario.
That's it. And that's life, really. There's no guarantees about anything in life. You think you have a job and it's safe. It's not. You can get called into a boardroom the next day and say, we're downsizing. And then what? And then you're unemployed. So the safety net, and this is any work. COVID taught us that. If COVID taught us anything, is to let you know your so-called world can change in an instant.
In a second.
You can literally go from, I've got a great job to, sorry, COVID, this, that, we're winding down, we're going bankrupt. That's the end of it. So that's just my philosophy. I am a risk taker, so I don't think it's fair to advise people because everyone has a different attitude for risk. Right. And you can't just say, hey, I've got 4 or 5 kids, I'm going to leave my job and go start a business. That's not fair because I don't have kids. So for me, God forbid, if I fail, I'll go drive a bus and I'll still be happy. So for some people, it might be like, I would just say, look at your situation and you have to try calculated risks and don't be so scared of failure.
Don't be so scared of failure.
You will fail at something.
You will fail.
And then you pick yourself up.
And you stand up again and you keep going.
Run again. It's like, toddlers, right? Babies, you see them getting up and falling down. They don't stop getting up. And these are babies, they don't even know anything. Yeah. As soon as they fall, they get up again.
How do you source for your workers, like your chef? Because, like the Thai restaurant we mentioned, the Vietnamese, I think they bring their people to come and cook for them because this is a special dish. So
we do as well. From home? We've got the permission from the government to bring people in to sponsor visas.
Wow.
We've got 2 categories of visas, I think. So we're actually in the process of bringing more people in now. Yeah, but absolutely, you're right. It's a challenge because finding people that can cook. And this is the best.
And then making them to stay to cook because
they will stay, but people need to understand that knowing how to cook doesn't mean you can work in hospitality. Like food safety is more important than knowing how to cook. And a lot of people, when they come in and we explain food safety, food handling, no. No, not be to cook. It's like, nah, not be to cook. Yeah, you're feeding people that have different dietary requirements, people that have health issues. You can't cross contaminate. You can't use the same board for chopping. Like, it's so many layers to it, and a lot of people just don't get that. They just think they can come in and cook.
Oh, okay.
So you need people that understand food safety, food handling. You need people that understand public safety, public health, grooming. So
do you train people in such?
Yeah.
So when you bring them in, you train them.
You have to.
You have to. Yeah.
I tell everyone, forget about that. You can cook. I don't care about that. Can you cook in a safe way?
So, what is your support system like?
I have good friends. Yeah, I have very good friends, and I've met some amazing people in this country. Like people that just inspire you. Like even when you're feeling down, you just listen to them talk and you're like, okay, I got this. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and get back on top of it. So I've met some wonderful people that are really, really inspiring. And the community is a big one as well. Like, even like people like yourself, like just seeing friendly, familiar faces, people don't understand what it does to you because you're going through all this business thing. No one really knows. Sometimes people look at it from afar and they're like, oh my God, he's so rich. Oh, look at that. And I'm like,
I hear that a lot.
How much I owe the ATO. Because, there's layers to this shit. But yeah, when people come in with a smile, they talk to you, sometimes sympathy is like, how's it going? You don't have to tell them all
the stories.
Yeah, but you can tell they genuinely care.
Yeah.
So I think that is, that's a big thing. That actually makes a lot of difference for us.
Wow, beautiful. So I want to ask you this: do you have any regrets?
Yes, of course, who doesn't? I regret not coming here earlier.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was supposed to come here, well, not here, but I was supposed to leave Dubai in 2008. 8 years earlier. Yeah, I was actually supposed to leave and go to Canada or whatever, Australia. So I think that's a regret. I think it's not too late, but I think I came at a rather difficult time,
But that makes you stronger to push forward.
It does, but you don't always want to be strong. Sometimes you just
want to be soft.
I'm tired of being strong. I want the soft life. I just want to be on the beach somewhere, not worried about anything. But yeah, I think that's one regret, is that I didn't make a move earlier and faster. I don't know if I would say med school was a regret, because like I said, I can still always fall back on it, but it's 7 years of studying.
7 years of studying.
Yeah, and I think I could have done
maybe business something. Have that background of business.
I would have had a PhD in that 7 years.
Yes.
Like literally.
So you
maybe, yes. I wouldn't call it a regret, but I would have done things different.
Yeah. So you have Little Lagos in Sydney.
Yes.
And you have Lekki by Little Lagos in Brisbane.
Yes.
How do you juggle it?
Just having a great team. That's it. You need to have people that are literally a copy of you. That's all you need. You can't.
Who have the same passion.
Yeah. Like in Sydney, we've got Abimbola. You don't even have to worry about anything. She understands the vision. She understands the brand. She almost wants it to succeed more than I do.
Wow.
In the sense of the dedication to it. So that's what you need. You need a team of people that understand what you're trying to do. It goes beyond, I have a job. It's not a job for her. It's almost like, and when people ask me, I'm like, go and talk to Abimbola. It's you're talking to me. So that's how you have to run this. You have to get people like that around you. And here, so Lekki by Little Lagos is co-owned by myself and Kemi. Okay. And that was the agreement that I make with a lot of people that work for me. Why don't we work together and then go create something together? So that you're not working for me for 10 years. Like, I don't think there's any pride in me saying, oh yeah, Ola has been working with me for 10 years. I think there's more pride in Ola used to work with me for 2 years. Now we own this together. I think that shows progression. I think that shows success. And I think that shows that you're growing your community and you're making ownership on a broader scale of things. Like what I said earlier, you see 10 Thai restaurants at the same time. Well, why can't you see at least 5 African-owned venues. And
yeah.
that just comes to ownership, because when people are able to own something, they're able to dedicate themselves.
Dedicate and give their best. So do you have competitors?
Yeah, of course.
So how do you cope? What makes you stand out?
Branding. I think it's just branding. Like, I don't mind competition at all. The one thing that we do different is we're not food focused. If you come here any given Sunday, there's something happening here. There's parties happening. There's art exhibitions. There's live music.
Wow.
There is fashion. We're working on events now every week. We're doing a singles night.
Wow, singles night. So if you're single, looking for someone.
Yes. That's what sets us apart. You're not just coming here to eat and go home.
And go home.
Yeah, you're coming here for full experience.
For full experience.
Yeah, and it could be anything. Like I said, you could come here and not have a single meal to eat, but you'll still have a great time and go home. So I think that's what we try to do that sets us apart. And
how do you market this?
Online is the biggest thing for us. We're very active and engaging on Instagram, the website, Google Plus. So we're very online focused, because I think that's where things are moving. First thing anyone does now is take up their phone and type in whatever they want. So marketing is online, word of mouth as well.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, and one thing I love is collaborating. So we're always collaborating with someone. Yeah. Always. Even now we're doing kitchen takeovers. So we allow a different chef to take over our kitchen and make like a whole different menu. We do that in Sydney all the time.
Wow.
And it's so successful.
Wow.
So imagine you come to Little Lagos, but it's now Little Jamaica. And you have like literally Jamaican.
So this is your creativity working for you.
Yeah.
Right.
We did an Eastern kitchen takeover with just Igbo dishes, because I can't make Igbo dishes. But we have Igbo customers, and it was a massive success.
Wow.
So you have to do things like that all the time.
All the time, yes.
Yeah, I think that's what sets us apart.
Where should we be expecting? What should we be expecting from Little Lagos in the nearest future?
A lot. We're doing
Lord in store.
Owambe is happening. We're doing an Eastern takeover again, so we're going to do an full Igbo dish menu. We're doing a Jamaican takeover again. We're doing Kenyan coffee and tea takeover. Wow. We're doing singles night. So I keep saying singles night because
are you marketing the singles?
Like a lot of your listeners might be single, but this singles night is cool because it's not about blind dating or whatever. It's about you coming here and actually meeting someone and having a conversation. You know how it was before Instagram, and just having a conversation with someone, having a connection with someone, and talking. Because people don't talk anymore.
They don't talk, yeah.
Just talk. Yeah. So
singles. That's you kept saying singles.
Yeah.
Can I ask, are you single yourself?
It's complicated. But I'm definitely not going to a singles night. Let's just put it that
way. You're just creating the space.
I'm creating the space for single people to try
to
and be great and love themselves. Yeah. So we've got all of that happening. And we've got Eco Festival happening.
Eco Festival?
Yes, which is our annual festival. We do it every year.
Is it in Sydney or Brisbane?
It's going to be in Brisbane this year. So we try to move it around the country. And it's a one-day festival, music, arts, culture, food, live music outside during the
So are you planning to create Little Lagos all over the states in Australia?
Yes.
Or is there a franchise?
Yes. Good you asked that. We just had a meeting with a franchise lawyer on Thursday. And we're going to, in 3 to 6 months, we're going to roll out a franchise proposal for people to be able to buy. But yeah, that's the dream. The dream is to have one in every state and territory in Australia, so that if work takes you to the Northern Territory,
you can get Little Lagos.
Yeah, 100%.
The experience.
The experience.
And it will be the same.
It will be the same. And you can literally decide, I don't want to live in Brisbane anymore. I want to move to Gold Coast.
And I'll get
and we'll be there. Yeah, I think that's the goal.
Well, wow, fantastic idea. Look, guys, I told you, this man, the creativity is off the roof. And I won't be surprised if I see something else coming out of your brain in the nearest future. I hope you have enjoyed the journey so far. Is there anything that you would like to tell our viewers?
Yes.
As we round up.
Yes. So thank you. This is actually from the heart, because a lot of people don't realize that businesses like this can only survive if the community supports it. And by community, I don't mean Nigerians alone or Africans alone. I mean everyone who kind of understands what we're trying to do. And people of different backgrounds can understand and they can see the vision. So massive, massive thank you to everyone that comes in, everyone that brings their friend. We don't do marketing. This is very important. We don't have money to do marketing. So every marketing we have is word of mouth. And that's someone telling their friends or their family members that you have to go check out this place. So thank you so much, and continue to support us.
Yeah, continue to support us, all your local businesses.
You're watching Real Issues with Ola. Stay tuned and keep watching.
Thank you, everyone. You've heard it all from the CEO of Little Lagos. So I hope you are inspired. I hope you will try and take a step in executing your own ideas. You know, it's always a risk. Life is a risk. So let's make the world a better place by, stepping out of our comfort zone and do what we're created to do. So till we come your way next time, this is Real Issues with Ola, and I will continue to remain your host. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and we'll see you again. Bye.